Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hey guys, welcome back to Why Not. So I am back on a solo episode this week, which has been weird and hard because I'm used to talking to other people again. But fear not, I have decided to talk a little bit about benefits of strength training or even just exercise and movement that don't include fat loss. So I hope you enjoy this. Hello guys and welcome back to Why Not. So today I want to talk a little bit about why strength training, gym work, whatever way we want to call it, is important for women, and without talking about fat loss and weight loss. And the reason being is we are hitting that kind of October time now. How the hell is October? God knows. But that time of the year where we're probably going to see a lot of those little black dress offers and people going, your Christmas party shred and all this. And I just wanted to, before people jump on that bandwagon and go completely down the road of fat loss again, and then don't go to gym again for 6 months because they hate it and they feel miserable for the whole time they're training, I thought let's talk about it from a better point of view and a more positive point of view, instead of having to only do it just because you're not good enough and you need to be thinner to be better. And this, we're going to talk about how being stronger can actually help you and your life. Now, I have covered this on the podcast again, but I think we do need that reminder from time to time because it's very easy to forget that there is more to fitness and strength training than just getting skinny. And it seems that the fashion is turning again and the big booties or whatever are going out again, so we could be going back down that skinny route, or that's going to be fashionable, but we don't need to be like that. And that's the thing I want to cover today. So one of the first reasons, and this is actually particularly prevalent in women, is one of the things that strength training or resistance training does is it increases your bone density. Now, why is that important? Well, as women, because of our hormonal shifts through the years, we are more likely to suffer from osteoporosis and osteopenia being the precursor to osteoporosis, also known as brittle bone syndrome. Now, when you do resistance training, your bone density increases, and this means future down the line you'll be less likely to suffer from that. And it may not sound like a big deal now, but it can be very, very difficult disease to live with, because when you have the likes of osteoporosis, a little thing like a trip can end up in a fracture, or something like hitting your hand off something can result in a fracture. And if you can do anything to avoid that happening, this is something simple that you can do a couple of times a week. It doesn't have to be 6 days in the gym. It could be a couple of 20 to 30 minute sessions a week, just making sure we're getting that bit of resistance training, getting a bit of a sweat on, and just doing things like squats, a few press-ups maybe, that kind of thing. You don't even need equipment, but it can really help avoid that happening in later life. And obviously that will affect your quality of life if you have to be very mindful of everything you do. So if it's something you can do now to avoid it, why wouldn't you? One of the things as well, now I know I said I wasn't talking about weight loss or fat loss, but having more muscle on your body, it takes your body more calories to fuel it. So you build muscle, and I'm not saying Arnold Schwarzenegger style muscle, it's really, really hard to get like that if you're a woman, like really, really hard. But if you have more muscle, you are going to need more energy to use that muscle. What that means is you need to eat more to maintain and fuel your body than you would if you had less muscle. So that means you get to eat more and not worry about it. Not that you should worry about it, but one of my favourite things about it is the fact that you get to eat more. And people are always surprised about how much I eat, because I do eat a lot, and I'm quite a small person, but I do have a lot of muscle, and I need to fuel the muscle, and I need to fuel my training. So it is a massive bonus getting to have that extra food all of the time. I really, really enjoy it. Like how often do you get to hear PT saying you can eat more? If you listen to the right ones, you do, but it's just, yeah, it's great. Another top of things as well is that muscle tone. As I said, if you've more muscle, not just need more calories, but when you have more muscle as well, it's also a good protection for your joints. If you have any kind of arthritis and stuff like that, like, now, not obviously if it's very severe, you do have to check with your doctor about this, but if you have any weaknesses in your joints, or if you've had any previous injuries, building muscle around them can really, really help support the joint and help you feel more comfortable in life and get rid of aches and pains. Because a lot of people think that you need to rest if something's happened, and sometimes you do, but other times, once it's healed, you no longer need to do that rest, and there's a weakness there, and you end up being in pain and wondering why you've not done anything for ages and it's still sore. Well, what you probably need to do is start building that back up. Once you build that back up, you will feel so much better. Like, sometimes you could be stretching till the cows come home, but the muscle's not actually tight, it's just weak, and you'll feel better by actually doing some exercises on it. Obviously, you take this at a slow pace and build it up, but it is really, really important to rebuild. I go on about this loads, about rehab and exercises, but on top of that, it can be really, really good for supporting your own joints, your own muscles, making you feel better and feeling less stiff and sore than you may have previously. And what's more, if you do anything like when I talk about horse riding, having muscle around those joints can also become very helpful if you suffer an impact, and that bone density will also help too. So it is just something that's really, really not just, yes, muscle tone can be seen as like an aesthetic and looking really good, but it also has benefits. One thing is protection from injury, one thing is building back up from injury, improving pain, which you hear from a lot of people who haven't trained before, said they might have dealt with a lot of shoulder pain. I've had clients say that, or back pain, and the thing that actually helped it was starting training and building up those muscles and making them strong again, and they no longer were suffering this pain. So it's really, really good. And on top of that as well, like, it's going to make your day-to-day functions easier. So if you are stronger, like really basic things that you don't think about, like, lifting children, carrying groceries, coming up the stairs. That's one I've heard a few people say from time to time, is like, after being in the gym for a while, they like climb the top of stairs and work, and like, oh my god, I'm actually not out of breath for once. Which sounds really silly, but it's one of those things that you kind of notice later on. Like, you'll never really see these things straight away, but what it is maybe 4-6 weeks down the line, you kind of realize, oh, that was a lot easier than it used to be, or I didn't even think about doing that, or I was able to run after the bus and I can breathe. And it's these little things that we don't think about in day-to-day life, and suddenly they're a little bit easier than they have been, and it just makes you feel good about yourself as well. It makes you feel more confident that you can just do things and not have to rely sometimes on other people, or not worry that you're going to be knackered because you have to carry the kid because it's having a tantrum or something like that. I know that makes no sense, but this is the kind of thing, these are the things we take for granted, I think, and really should remember these, and the thing about it is, it's not an overnight thing, and we are very impatient, and it's something that you won't notice for a couple of weeks, at least a couple of weeks consistent. Like, if you're doing something once a week, you probably won't see it for a long time, but if you're maybe 3 times a week doing like a bit of strength training for 4 6 weeks, you'll start to notice those difference. And they're the things that really are really important in comparison to like the aesthetic things. Like, yeah, cool, you might look great, but it's always good, we always learn to look good, but these are more important in your actual life. And by keeping this kind of thing going as well, it helps you in your future down the line, because studies have shown as well that as people age, if they do not keep up some form of activity, they slowly kind of decline, their mobility decreases, and the people who are out and doing forms of exercise, and that could be any form of exercise, tend to have a better quality of life as they age. And I, for one, have seen this in my own family. I've seen people who are more active than others go a certain way, and people who aren't active go a different way. And I think if you looked at it yourself, you look at maybe older relatives and see the ones who are more active, doing things, how they were able to keep going. Like, you always know that like neighbour who's in their 80s and still up on the roof doing jobs, that is a testament to the fact that they've kept active, and these things really help you going forward in life. So if you want to have a good quality of life as you age as well, not just because of the likes of the osteoporosis, osteopenia, because of the likes of being able to just like go to the shops and grab the shopping and stuff like that, you know what I mean? These are things that we don't want to think about now, but keeping active, doing strength training, these all have proven to be things that will help you in your later life. So if that's something you've never thought about, maybe that could be the clincher for you, because it's very hard to think about into the future, because we always want to be now. But if you do look into the future, you can see how things can really I suppose, as I said, if you look at your older relatives, look at the ones who are more active, look at them who are least active, and see how they are now, how's their mobility, how is their independence, all these little things that will really give you an indication of the difference and keeping active and fit can make in your life. As I said, there's a lot of studies on this. I have a relative study on it as well, and it's amazing the difference. And it doesn't have to be, as I said, 6 crazy workouts. 20 minutes 3 times a week can really make that difference. And then I suppose the last one I'm going to talk about here is, I think, one of the obvious ones as well, and it's the mental health benefits of exercise in general. Like, that can be anything. It doesn't have to be strength training. We all know, or we've all been told on numerous occasions, that exercise releases serotonin. So if you are sad or not feeling in the best mood that day, sometimes the best thing you can do is a bit of exercise. And again, it can be anything from a massive heavy session to a nice little walk out in the fresh air. And I don't know how many times people say to me, and I agree, because I have days that I don't want to do it either, but they'll always say, like, you never want to come, or you don't always want to come to the gym, or you don't always want to come and do the workout, but you never regret it after. And I think that's really important to highlight, because as I said myself as well, like, there is days where I don't want to train, and that's just normal. I am human, and like that, I never regret doing it, because even if you taper back and do a lighter session than you would have normally done, you still get a bit of a sense of achievement that, like, you did it. As I said, the serotonin's released, and it's absolutely worth it every time. Don't kill yourself if you're really tired or you're really not feeling it. As I said, you can go out for a walk, getting out in the fresh air, maybe go for a chat with a friend. Like, it'll just make you feel better, and it's one of the most underrated benefits of exercise. Especially, things can be so stressful, and it can be really hard to get yourself out sometimes and get yourself to do stuff for yourself. But the saying, you can't give from an empty cup. So if you're constantly doing stuff for others and not doing anything for yourself, there's only so long you can do that. And when I say, as I said, it can be any form of exercise, because if you hate doing it, You're not going to be any better after. But find something you enjoy, find something you love, and try and get some resistance training in some form, in any way, shape or form, into your life, because as I said, there's so many benefits that these are only just a few that I've listed today. And it doesn't have to be a crazy boot camp, it doesn't have to be CrossFit, it doesn't have to be a TRX class, it doesn't have to be a circuit class. It could be like Pilates to an extent has has resistance in it. You could find a dance class which may not seem like resistance, but there's impact in it, and that could be great crack for you. You could have loads of fun. There's so many ways to get some form of exercise and some form of movement into your life without having to be dying on a gym floor after. Now, the other thing as well is you could go and maybe you've gone to the wrong gyms. Maybe you've gone to these big, scary, intimidating gyms. Maybe you need to go to a smaller local gym, which sometimes they are a little bit more expensive, but what you do is you get that more one-to-one care. You get people more like you, and that's one thing I find is great is working in the gym I work in. It's a small class, everybody knows each other. There's different people at the different class at different times of the day, but they all know each other, they make friends, they get used to seeing each other, they help each other. It's not a big faceless gym where you don't know who you're going to see from day to day. There's only a few of us in the gym as well, so they know the instructors, and it's just nice, and it's a really nice vibe. So if you've gone to those bigger gyms before and you just felt like you didn't fit in, maybe you need to look for something a little bit smaller like that. Like what I was talking about, if you want to talk to me about my gym, let me know. I can probably as well help you if I'm not in your area, kind of figure out the kind of thing you're looking for as well. Just give me a message on Instagram. But yeah, with that, I think I'm going to leave you there. So this is a little bit shorter than my last few episodes because I have to talk on my own, and I'm much better when I'm talking to someone. But I hope this gave you a bit of food for thought, made you think about exercise and movement and how it can actually benefit us as opposed to it being just kind of a punishment thing, the little reminder we need every so often. And if you want to find me, you will find me on Instagram, and that is at Chrissy Hawkins, at Chrissy H Fit, or the one I'm more active on now is at strongthesaddle_, and then I'm on TikTok at strongthesaddle. And my website as well is www.chrissyhawkins.com, so you can find out more about working with me personally there. But thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoyed. I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast, so if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok, and thanks again for listening.